What's going on, guys? Real quick, if you want coaching with me, just go in the description box down below or head to masculineenergy.net//coaching. masculineenergy.net/coaching. That will get you coaching with me. Some people don't know where to look, so they email me all the time. So it's a lot easier for me just to make a real quick intro video telling you where to go. Thanks. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Masculine Energy. So I want to talk about the effect of positive feelings. So it's in the relationships chapter. This little sub-chapter part is in that chapter of Letting Go by David Hawkins. The effect of positive feelings. I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to interject some of my experiences. And the reason why you have to understand this is awareness precedes change, right? When you're completely aware of something and the way that it's affecting your life and affecting the relationships and how you interact with people, the women in your life, the men in your life, or women that are watching, that way you can make the right changes because you're aware of what your actions are going to do. It is obvious that higher states of consciousness have a profound effect on relationships because one of the laws of consciousness is like goes to like. So you guys will hear a lot about how opposites attract, right? And that can be true because of the exciting aspect of a relationship, but you also have to remember that the beginning of a relationship, you also have rose-colored glasses on, and you're going to be going through the infatuation phase. It's not even really love. It's just lust at most of the time. Because when you hang around somebody that you don't really like, you don't have anything in common, you actually don't really care for them that much, you're going to want to actually be away from them. And think about this in every other when somebody's negative all the time. Like, say you're a negative person, right? But somebody's more negative than you or more annoying than you. You're like, oh my God, get away from me. Relationships don't fall out of that bracket. Opposites attract for about 6 months. The people that stay together are the people that like the same things, the same interests. A couple that stays together, plays together, stays together. And in order for you guys to play and do the things that you guys like to do, you guys both have to like the same shit to a degree. And then, of course, fun is fun for a lot, like going bowling. That's pretty fun, right? For most people. Shooting pool, going to do like darts and weird things like that, right? Going on dinner dates and things like that can be fun as well for both. Doesn't really matter. But you guys have to be able to talk to each other, right? Your interpersonal connection is what matters. And that connection is when you and another person are alike and it's beyond the physical. It's with the energy, okay? So that's where your connection's coming from. So when you have a connection to somebody, the reason why you don't want to let them go is because that connection is strong. So like goes to like, remember that. Our inner states are actually radiated to others. We can positively affect others even when we're not physically with them. Feelings are energy, and all energy give off a vibration. We are like sending and receiving stations. The less negative we are holding, the more aware we can be of what others are really holding about us. The more we love, the more we find ourselves surrounded by love. So if you read that and you realize your relationship and the relationships you have with your family and friends are a certain way, like, is it working for you or not? Is it a loving relationship, or is it more take it or leave it? Does that person really care about you and what you're interested in and what you do on a daily basis, right? It's that kind of thing. The replacement of a negative feeling by a higher one accounts for the many miracles one can experience in the course of life. These become more frequent as one continues to surrender. As we surrender, life becomes more and more effortless. There is a constant increase in happiness and pleasure, which requires less and less from the outer world to be experienced. There is a diminution of needs and expectations of others. I need to look that word up because I don't know what the fuck that means. We stop looking out there for what we now experience as coming from within ourselves. We let go of the illusion that others are the source of our happiness. That is exactly what you guys are experiencing right now. Because I know a lot of you guys are coming to me because of a breakup, right? You guys are going through one of the hardest things you could probably ever go through because you're really essentially alone going through this. That's why I do these videos so much. I know they're very similar. Video to video, they're very similar, but I show up and do this because there are people, you're alone, right? It doesn't take much for me to do this, right? But you're alone. Nobody really wants to hear about your relationship and the breakup and how much you miss her. Nobody cares, unfortunately. I know that sucks because when I was dealing with it, my friends were like, yeah, bro, okay. Like eventually they were tired of it, right? So that's why I continue to do this, because I really want you guys to go on your masculine path and be strong and be, but during this time of weakness and a low part of your life, I want you guys to have support. Instead of looking to get from others, we now look to give. Others now seeking to be with us instead of avoiding us. In Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, Scrooge experienced the pleasure of giving instead of looking to get from others. The joy of that transformation is available to us all. Carl Jung wrote the phenomenon called synchronicity, which might also have been called simultaneity, okay? To explain the occurrence of events that to the intellect appear unrelated, as we surrender more and more, this type of experience becomes commonplace. An illustration of this phenomenon is the following experience related by a business executive who's been practicing the letting go technique for about a year. I was president of a small corporation with about 50 employees. We had built up a promising young man to head one of our divisions of the company. It turned out, however, that this man was very immature. Instead of responding with gratitude and cooperation for all that was done for him, he reacted by becoming grandiose, demanding, and somewhat paranoid. He declared that he was going to barge into the next board of directors meeting and cause a big upset with his wild accusations and demands. Although all of his accusations could have been easily refuted, the whole affair sounded like a dreadful experience to live through. For days, he appeared just plain hateful with his threats. The day of the board meeting, which was like 1 p.m., that's not what he said, but I just said that. I was driving along the parkway thinking angry thoughts about him. Suddenly, I let it all go. I surrendered on him totally. I started to see the frightened child in him. I started to send him love. All my anxiety disappeared, and I felt a sympathetic love for him. I looked at my watch, and it was 12:30. When I got to the office, my secretary said this man had walked into the office and stated he was calling off the whole thing. He had changed his mind at the last minute. I asked her what time he had walked into the office. She said she made a particular note of the time. As the board meeting was soon to take place, she looked at her watch and he began to make the announcement, the change of heart, at 12:32. Energy is beyond what is in front of you. It exists everywhere. And you can influence it, but you have to first let go of your own shit, basically. And if you're with somebody, or you were with somebody that's dealing with issues just like that guy, but in their own way, you getting angry at them for being what they are, and this is extremely difficult, but you being angry at them won't help the cause. There is literally no point, and this was so hard for me to figure out and actually implement, so it might take you guys a long time as well, or maybe you'll do it tomorrow because you might be better than me at it. There's no point in being angry at somebody for the way that they are. They are not going to change overnight. They're not going to change how they feel about you overnight. You have to do the work on yourself. You have to be the one that takes a look in the mirror and says, am I the best version of myself? Am I able to let go? Am I able to do the things that I say I should do with myself? Should I work on this side business? Should I work on my body? Should I work on this? Should I work on that? That is something that you guys need to I have a student right now who was doing their work that they're supposed to be doing, right? I'm getting them to do the blogging stuff. My course is coming out soon, not soon, but it's coming out, by the way. So right now there's an early bird version of it that only has like a very small amount of the videos. But if you get in early, you'll get it at a smaller price than what it would be when it's out. But of course, you have to wait for the material to come out, as I do it every day. So it's up to you if you guys want it. If you want it, just comment down below or email me. Everything's in the description box below. One of the students was supposed to be working on their projects and was like, I don't feel like working today. I'm just going to lie in bed. And they messaged me about it. And I said, look, go and just write a paragraph. And they were like, okay. So they went and wrote a paragraph. And I said, okay, now get up, go for a walk around the block for like 15 minutes and come back and see if you even want to lie in bed all day anymore. They don't want to. As soon as you get moving, like momentum is huge, right? I do a lot of this work. It's like there are days, guys, I don't want to be on video. I don't want to do blogs. I don't want to sometimes, but I do it anyway. And then you get proud of yourself for pulling yourself through it. It's a really powerful thing. The next part of this is called letting go of expectations. This is a kind of a long chapter. You know what? I'll do this one in the next video. But what I want you guys to do, I want you guys to buy this. Okay? It is the Hawkins Map of Consciousness. You can Google that. And there's a website with that laminated version of it, but you can probably get other ones, right? I want you guys to figure out where you guys are hanging out every single day. Because there's a reason why you are getting the results in your life that you are, and there's a reason why you're not. From the bottom to the top. So the reason why I'm just going to read it to you is because it's backwards. So I'm going to read it to you, and of course, you can see the colors from red, yellow, green, blue, and then on the other one I have, it actually goes to blue to purple. So at the very bottom is shame. So he actually puts a number on it, which is 20. And then guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride. These are all negative emotions. And then underneath those, in that book, he explains how underneath all of those, there are kind of like sub versions of those emotions, like fear of God, fear of being found out, because there's fear itself, right? Fear of like 20 different things. It was actually in my last video. So you guys can actually see here where you guys are hanging out. Anybody going through a breakup right now, you're probably dealing with 5 or 6 of these emotions. Shame, guilt, apathy. Apathy is like a depressed, like numb state. Grief, fear, desire, anger. You're probably dealing with all of them, to be quite honest with you. Maybe some to varying degrees. And the emotion behind it, so the level was all those. The emotion behind it, so shame is affiliated with humiliation. Guilt, right, is associated with blame. Apathy is associated with despair. How many of you feel that right now? Right? Like you have nothing to look forward to. Nothing matters. Everything sucks, right? Grief is associated with regret. I probably hear that one the most. Besides being like fearful that they're going to move on to somebody else, I hear that one the most, I think. I regret that I didn't put my best foot forward, right? I regret that I didn't focus on my own individual growth. I'm regretful that I treated her like crap. I'm regretful of whatever, right? It goes on and on. The list is infinite, right? It's easy to sit in your emotion. And in the last video, it even talks about how you should be going out and escaping, because the escapism part will help dial down the intensity of how you feel, right? Towards that person, or not towards a person, but how you feel inside. And then you can let go piece by piece, pizza slice by pizza slice, or cake slice by cake slice, right? That is what you can do in order to let go of things a lot easier. Instead of the overall breakup, I have to get over this breakup, you can start digging down into the emotions and digging down even deeper and deeper and going, okay, I'm going to let go of just this little thing that I used to do. I used to be like this, and I'm regretful of it, and I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let go of this. I'm going to let go of that. And you slowly start building up this strength again. Because you're not letting you're not letting your emotions guide you. You're not letting your mistakes define you anymore by letting go of little things piece by piece. So desire is fear, I missed one, is associated with anxiety. Anxiety is another major one. I'm so anxious about the future. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm never going to get another girl. I'm never going to be able to connect with somebody again. People don't like me. She doesn't like me. Her family, oh my God, I miss her family so much. Her, you know how many times I hear this on a daily basis, guys? I'm not making fun of you, I promise. I'm just showing you and pointing out what commonalities you guys all have. I got really close to her family. And that makes it 10 times more difficult to break up, because you connect with sisters, brothers, parents, grandparents, nieces and nephews, right? You connect with all of them. It's like breaking up with 20 different people, but in a slightly different way, right? Removing the sexual part of the relationships. So it's very difficult. Desire is associated with craving. Craving is a difficult one because it can seem not so harmful. But if you constantly crave something all the time, are you ever satisfied? Right? Anger is associated with hate and pride is associated with scorn. So you can use anger to, it's a very push energy. Like, I'm going to do shit. I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to, go do, move my body around. I'm going to go date other girls. Like, that's a good place to start because you have more gusto. You have more energy. It's a very powerful emotion, anger. But you can't stay there. I stayed in my angry phase for years. And it was because of all the shit I went through when I was a boy. And when you go through things and you don't even realize how toxic you're actually becoming, it's difficult because you have to, everything gets worse before it gets better. But I promise if you guys do this work, you're going to get better. So let's look at the positive side to this. The next thing after pride is courage. And the emotion associated with this affirmation. When you guys do courageous acts, you're going to be literally stepping out of the red. Okay? When you step out of the red, now you're free to do things in the green. So let me read more green to you. Courage moves up to neutrality, willingness, and acceptance. So courage, neutrality, willingness, and acceptance. Those ones kind of all work with each other. And the emotion associated with neutrality is trust. Trust that everything will work out. Take it or leave it. Doesn't matter. Willingness is optimism, right? Associated with optimism. Acceptance is forgiveness. You have to, and this is what I know that I know this is hard for so many of you because forgiving somebody that has wronged you so much, so deeply. You have to understand, because this is me telling you from a 30,000 foot view and their perspective instead of just yours. Because you're stepping you're in your own shoes. You're not looking at their shoes because you're hurt. That's why opinions from coaches and mentors, whoever you choose, whatever coach you like, just make sure that they actually give a fuck about you. That's all I'm trying to tell you. So when you are looking at everything from a 30,000 foot view like we can, you're able to see, first of all, that person that chose to be with you was an active choice, and then they chose to not be with you anymore, which was an active choice, which hurts, but it was ultimately their choice. And that is okay. And eventually, you will begin to forgive them for who they are, which is God, the universe. Really, they're just you, if you think about it. That might sound woo-woo to you, but if we're all just little sparks of God, then so are, the person that you were dating is really a piece of you. So you will learn to forgive the person who hurt you. And then what you're going to learn through the actual physical work, the masculine energy stuff, the red pill stuff, you're going to learn to become and love. You're going to love somebody in a way that you can stay detached from the actual neediness or the emotions, the heaviness of the relationship. You can love that person that in a way that they feel free, like Corey Wayne says. That is how you love. But the problem is people get attached to all of the plans and all the ideas. And here's the thing, the more detached you remain, the more attractive you're going to be. It is the way that the universe works. People always want to be around you when you do not need them anymore. You don't need their love. So here's an example with business, right? People are now coming to me, people from other, like, people when I say, hey, I'm doing marketing for X, Y, and Z, and I'm growing websites, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. People are, because I don't need their money, because I don't need it anymore. People are like, hey, bro, take my money. I want you to help me. It is insane how it all works. And once you feel it to be true, it happens more. Because the thought of it is the signal. The emotion amplifies it. It's crazy. So when you think something, okay, the signal's going off. But imagine if you dialed that bitch up to like 12 and now it's like going crazy, right? That's how it works. And again, I know it's woo-woo and spiritual and whatever, but that's how it works. So relationships work the same way. If you don't need a woman, if you don't need people, they're like, bro, I want to be around you. Okay, that's how it always fucking works. And then moving up through the levels, we're going up to reason, which is associated with the emotion of understanding. So you understand that the person that left you did it for a reason, and you can forgive them and trust the process and be optimistic. All the emotions that you feel, right? So let's go through them. So I'm going to be right here. So you can so you can understand that they wanted to leave. You can forgive them for wanting to do so. You're optimistic about the future. You trust that no matter what happens, everything's going to be okay. And then you go up to bliss, right? This is very difficult for people to attain, to get above, to be peaceful. But being peaceful is what we are. I think what we're naturally always trying to get back to. But then, of course, I think personally speaking that there are forces in the world that are trying to get people to go from here down to here. So pick that up, put it on your wall, and take a look at it. And you can, when you're visually hit with how you're actually feeling all the fucking time, you can go, I'm going to go do something courageous today. I'm going to accept the world today for what it is. You can use these emotions and apply them to the world and go, if somebody, cuts you off in traffic, you can forgive them. That's fucking hard. I'll tell you that shit. But look, guys, I just want you guys to start moving up the ladder. Just take a step, because I know how it feels and it sucks. And I know a lot of you guys want to work on your own businesses, especially after COVID. I know that you guys want to be, work on becoming a better version of yourself, a better man. And my podcast is coming out pretty soon, actually. I know I've been saying that all these fucking projects I have on the go are coming out. But I think after the course is done, I'm going to focus on a podcast. So it's actually going to be called Masculine Energy Podcast. And it's actually going to be a lot deeper into intersexual dynamics and women and that kind of thing. And I'll probably have a separate YouTube channel, right? Because I talk a lot about letting go on this channel, and it's actually starting to really rank pretty high. That's why I'm getting so many views. But I do want a place for you guys to go so you guys can understand, like, oh, this is one thing you have to know about attraction, and this is one thing you have to know about attraction. This is what you do over here. This is what you do over here. Like, I want to have a separate podcast for the attraction, how women are stuff. And you can know that stuff without hating women. A lot of dudes hate chicks for the way that they are. They shouldn't. You just have to know the game you're playing. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you want coaching, it's all down below. Blah, blah, blah. And if you want marketing for HVAC plumbers or electricians, let me know. We'll get you more leads. I'll see you guys in the next video.